Hey, this is Brendan Goldman. I'm doing my Math 120 Probability and Statistics project. This is my survey. This is the summer 2014 semester. Start off with my introduction. The purpose of this survey is to inquire from random people about the number of times they have been arrested by the police. I hit the streets of Ocean Boulevard on July 22nd and began to ask random people how many times they have been arrested, their gender, and their age. As a police officer for the city of Myrtle Beach, I know countless of our fine residents get arrested on the daily. My hypothesis is that around 50% of the people surveyed will have been arrested at least once. I also hypothesize that there will be a positive correlation between age and number of times arrested. Results. The results of this survey yielded that 14 out of the 30 people surveyed had been arrested. That's 46.7%. Out of the arrestees, 12 of them were males and 2 were female. Then I just have all the information laid out with the number of times arrested, the gender, and the age. And it's continued on to this entire page. I'll attach all of this also in the file with this recording. The frequency histogram chart and graph below shows the overall survey results before being broken down by gender. The frequency is represented on the y-axis and the number of arrests are represented on the x-axis. As you can observe, 16 people claim to have never been arrested. 8 claim they have been arrested only once. 2 people have been arrested twice. 2 people have been arrested 3 times and 1 9 times. Homeless lady. For the frequency distribution chart below, I use 4 classes. My minimum value is 0. My maximum value is 9. This also makes the range 9 since 0 minus 9 equals 9. The range divided by the number of classes, which is 4, so 9 divided by 4, equals 1.8, which is rounded up to 2. I then have my figure 1, which is my overall histogram chart. And then I have the frequency table listed underneath that with the 4 classes. Now have my overall 5-number summary. The minimum was 0. The quarter 1 was 0. Medium was 0. Quarter 3 was 1. And my maximum was 9. I also have my box and whisker graph that shows the same information. Quarter 1, 0. Median, 0. Quarter 3, 1. And my mean, which is 1.07. Since this data set is a sample, I'm using the SX for the standard deviation, which is equal to 1.91. And the sample mean, as you can see above, is equal to 1.07. The graph below shows the frequency distribution when separated by gender. The frequency is represented on the y-axis, and the number of arrests is represented on the x-axis. Males are represented by the color green, and females by the color blue. Then I have my figure 2, which is just the frequency graph with the males and females separated. Then I have my male 5-number summary, which the minimum for the males was 0, the quarter 1 was 0, medium was 1, quarter 3 was 1.5, and the maximum was 5.0. The male frequency, I used 3 classes. The sample mean was 1.1, and the standard deviation was 1.33. And then the female 5-number summary, the minimum was 0, quarter 1 was 0, medium was 0, quarter 3 was 0, and the maximum was 9. The female frequency, I used 4 classes. The sample mean was 1, and the sample deviation was 2.83. The scatter plot below shows the frequency distribution when separated by age. The x value represents the age, and the y value represents the frequency. Males are represented by green dots, and the females are represented by blue dots. The main purpose I wanted to do this was to try to prove my hypothesis about being a positive correlation for the older you get, the more arrests you would have. If you take just a quick look at this graph, you can tell that the older the male gets, the more arrests they have. Not so true with the females. It was just the one homeless lady who had 9 arrests that kind of throw it off. But if you don't include that, then it's just a bunch of zeros and 1 1. So confidence intervals. For this information, I used the sample mean, which was 1.07. The sample size was 30, and the sample standard deviation was 1.91. With 99% confidence, it can be said that the population proportion of citizens have been arrested at least once is greater than 0.11 and less than 2.0. With 95% confidence, X is greater than 0.37 and less than 1.8. And with a 90% confidence, X is greater than 0.48 and less than 1.6. Discussions and conclusions. This data was collected from 30 random citizens on Ocean Boulevard, and it is assumed that their answers are truthful. The results of this survey will help determine if any combination of age and gender have a role on if you will get arrested and what combination gets arrested the most. My initial hypothesis was that about 50% of the sample population would have been arrested at least once. The results supported that. My results supported that hypothesis because 14 out of 30 people, which is 46.7%, were arrested at least once. I also observed that the older the male subject was, the more likely they have been arrested more than twice. This trend shows a weak positive correlation. Males between the age of 44 and 47 had at least 3 arrests. Only 20.3% of the female population had been arrested versus the 67.7% of the male population. From my previous work experience as a police officer, these results make perfect sense. Males in general are usually the ones getting in trouble. I did, however, choose this location on the boulevard with the pre-thought that I would get more results than if I asked a family at the Dunes Club. And once again, I'm going to attach this in both the Pages format for Macs and I'll convert it for the Word document for PCs. And that's it. It's my project.